All right, everybody, let's go ahead and start. I think Dick KTUFT will join us within just a second here. I think we were going to try to give a quick repeater update and do a quick election, simple, get it done and get out of the way so we can spend the rest of the evening with Mickey. So let's see. Let's go ahead and welcome. It's obviously the August version of our August 2023 version of our meeting. Tonight is elections also, and we've got a great presentation in store. Let me go ahead and pass it off to Stephen and Jeff to give us a quick update while Dick gets signed in and tell us what's going on with the repeaters real quick. Go ahead, guys. You may have to unmute too.
All right. So I want to say Friday of last week, Robin alerted me that the internet connection, well, the D-Star gateway was down. So I looked and tried to get into the console server for the repeater controller, and it was down. And I also noticed that Echolink was down. So John called our ISP up there and they said everything was normal, and he reached out to Kevin at Altius, which is the company that manages all of the rooftop RF equipment, and he said nothing had been changed, no fiber lines had been cut or anything like that he knew of. So our ISP, One Ring, said that everything was good on their end and we shouldn't have a problem. So that obviously pointed to something up in the bank tower in the rack had failed. So Jeff, I believe, is going up there tonight to see if we can figure out what's wrong and fix it. But as of right now, no D-Star, well, the D-Star and DMR repeaters, as far as I know, are operating in standalone mode right now. They work, they just can't connect anywhere. Echolink is offline. And I think that's about it. Jeff, do you have anything to add?
Don't forget to unmute, Jeff.
Yeah, I got too many freaking windows open. I gotta find it first. Not really. You summed it up.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much on that. Hopefully everything will be up and running tonight. It's something simple, and we just had
one other thing. Those random error messages on the repeater controller should be gone now.
Okay.
I've been listening for several days and haven't heard any of them. So I think they're gone and forgotten now.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Getting up to the bank tower sometimes is harder than getting an audience with the Pope. So we had a little snafu with the schedule over the weekend, and we had tried to change it to Sunday, and apparently they still had us on Saturday, and they will not let you in if you do not show up on your particular date. So that's what happened this weekend. So Jeff's going to be up there tonight, and hopefully it'll be taken care of, something simple. All right, real quick, I'm going to hand it over to Dick Bentley, K2UFT, and let him run the election real quick so that we can get that out of the way, and then just spend the rest of the evening enjoying or listening to what Mickey has to say. One real quick note, I'd like to thank, as the outgoing president, I'd like to thank the current board, Bill Perkins, vice president, Ade Shambin, both secretary and treasurer, pulling double duty this year. And Rob Osatin, KI4UTY, was our member at large. And who am I missing? Is that one, two? I'm missing somebody. Oh, I'm sorry, Ed. Ed was a member at large also. So thank you guys, and especially Ade, who will be outgoing as treasurer and secretary. Did a great job, and COVID really took a beating on him, and he's been stuck at home quite a bit, but kept the books rolling and doing all the legal duties behind the scenes for the club. So thanks to those guys, and going forward, well, we've got a strong club, and we've got strong board members taking charge and getting things done. So and I was sharing the screen. We've got several events this month, and you can go on the website and find links to those. Our Sunday in the Park, where we just get out and play radio, And we've got our testing session the second Sunday, also at PDK. And then this month, next week actually is our another breakfast for the club. So if you can't make the Friday lunches at Mellow Mushroom Brookhaven, we're going to do a once a month breakfast. And the first, well, second or third one will be this Saturday. So check the website or Facebook for those. Let me go ahead and hand it off real quick to Dick so we can get that out of the way and then get on to Mickey. Go ahead, Dick.
Hey, John, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm having a little bit of, quite a bit of computer problems here, but here's the report of the election committee. I've been tested with the task of conducting the 2023 ARRL elections. The election committee shall be responsible for carrying out the elections of officers, including certification of eligibility. The election committee may solicit candidates for president. All wishing to seek office of president shall declare their candidacy to the election committee. Let me quickly introduce the election committee members, who are Glenn Burleson, KJ4 FOV. I'm sorry, my video is not doing real good today. Sorry, Aid Chambly. And also KJ4CUI. And myself, that's the election committee. We asked for candidates to come forth. And we have board is selected will select a single slate. And so far, the only slate we have so far coming by is president, Bill Perkins, KB4KFT, Vice President John Talipsky, N3ACK, Secretary Treasurer Ed Bevel, KO4JRJ, sorry if I pronounced the wrong way, and member at large, I'll get it in a second. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble focusing on this screen. My wife's computer is not friendly to me. Rich Costatus, I'm sorry, KI4, I'll get it yet. Looks like UTY.
Yeah, to round it out, it's Rob and Val.
Okay, Rob and Val. Very good, WD4EX. Do we have any nominations from the floor at this time? Well, I've not heard any. Will Bill KB4KFT, candidate for president, like to make any comments?
No, I think we've pretty much got it nailed down. The requirement is that only club members can vote, I think, and I believe we have enough here to do it. The only thing I always do when I run this is ask, is anybody opposed to the slate? That seemed like a cleaner way to go at it, and I can deal with them later. All right, I think we're good to go.
What do you propose to deal with?
To find out what the problem is. The first time I ran, going way back, guys, the first time I ran, there were several people that really didn't want me to run. And after the election, I made a point to reach out to them and talk to them. And a lot of them became supporters. So it's always nice to know who's unhappy.
Okay, well, it's good to have you on board, Bill. And why don't you go ahead and we go ahead and present your introduce your candidates, and then we can swear, do an unanimous vote if necessary.
Okay, well, John remains president until the end of the meeting. So Rob is here. I've talked to Aid about staying on. He can't officially be treasurer because he's timed out on the term limits. But Ed is going to be treasurer, and Aid is going to be treasurer emeritus, if I can create a term for that. And I see a smooth transition here. Everybody on the slate has already served in some capacity of one or another. John has laid a good foundation the last 3 years. I like the fact that we're getting out in the parks and doing things again. That's always been something I pushed hard. I think considering that we're all trying to recover from COVID-19, club's doing okay. So I don't really have anything else to say except, I'm looking forward to at least 1 year.
Okay, well, without objection, I would like to state the current slate, and the only slate is duly elected for the next term starting in August. Nobody opposed?
Speak up now.
Yep. Not one of my better meetings. Sorry, guys, I'm having a lot of technical issues on this end. K2UFT on standby.
Okay, Dick, thank you. Great job. It was a simple process. When only one slate's running, it makes it easy. So thanks, guys, and thanks to the new crew coming in. And like Bill said, we've got a lot of fun ahead of us. So do reach out if you have an interest in helping with something, or if Bill reaches out and says, I need help with something, please do jump in. And many hands make light work. So we can have a lot of fun together if everybody helps out with just a little bit of stuff along the way. So thank you very much, Dick, and congratulations, Bill, and the rest of the crew. So let's go ahead and toss it over to Rob, our dashingly handsome program manager, and let him take it away for the evening. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Rob.
Thanks, John. And yeah, thanks for electing everyone for electing the slate that I'm on, or not objecting to electing the slate that I'm on. Yeah, we've got a great speaker tonight in our, we've had actually done pretty well in great speakers. There are things going on at the ARRL that I know a lot of members have been talking about. ARRL is making some changes. They're doing, they're re-examining finances, I guess, like everyone else. And they've made some changes. And again, there's controversy over it. So Mickey Baker, the ARRL Southeastern Director, he's director of the Southeast Division, and that's got 7 sections in it. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. So he's got a nice territory. And so he's agreed to talk to us. He's on the board of the ARRL, and he's agreed to talk to us about what's going on. So he's going to talk, and then we're going to have some questions. And all I ask is everybody be nice. Mickey, welcome, and I'll turn it over to you.
See if I can find out how to unmute here.
It worked.
There we go. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for having me here. When Rob and John reached out, I guess, and said, "Hey, could you do this possibly Thursday?" I said, "Yeah," but here's the situation I'm in. I'll tell you guys anything that any of my opinions about what I did and what the discussion was about at the board of directors. I can tell you why ARRL does need more money than they're pulling in. So the basic financials are this, and I'm going to give you very rough numbers. The 2022 annual report has just been published, so you can go refer to that. So the ARRL is roughly a $30 million enterprise per year. It costs just under $30 million to run the ARRL all in. So that's the turnover. That includes about 14 million as of last year of memberships. And the rest is made up by publication sales and donations. Donations have been down year over year for the past 10 years. The board has done some strange things since before I arrived. They had 3 CEOs. We fired the 3rd CEO my first meeting. That was Howard Mickle. And then David Mister has been a pretty good guy. It's been a lot of online talk about how much money he makes. We published the IRS Form 990. I think we posted on the website yesterday or the day before yesterday. And it shows what his salary is. So if you wonder what he makes, that's what he makes. I don't think he's overpaid. I think he's paid right. I'm on the admin and finance committee, and I voted for his current pay as it sits today. So we can, we have to hire the best people to come in and run the league. And really, in retrospect, I think he was probably the best guy. So what's so expensive? Why is the league losing money? Our forecast this year, at the beginning of the year, we have a meeting in November of the A&F meeting, of the A&F committee, and we were looking at about $1.2 million to $1.6 million in the red operationally for 2023, based on projected income and projected expenses. We did delay some hiring. We put some hiring off till after the first of the year. We have mitigated that to a bit, so that at this point of the year, we're less than $500,000, and we're better than half the year has already happened. So we'll probably come out in the red for 2023 at about $1 million. How in the heck does that happen? My argument with the A&F committee has always been that if we're going to increase dues, if we're going to try to increase the revenue side, that we should take initiative to look at expenses. So we spent the better part of a year looking at expenses of programs, and the number of programs ARRL still supports. I mean, we do things that a lot of people on here use that runs at a loss. The QSL card services are running at a loss. And the reason is that we have to have special employees. We have people that know the countries and know the QSL routes, and they're skilled employees. And in fact, they're down to one right now, and she's about ready to retire. So that, we are going to have to train someone else to do QSL card services. So that's one person that that takes pretty much a full-time person, but there's not enough revenue to do that. So is that something we stopped doing? So then came the, during that discussion, then came the idea of doing a survey. I'm a grump. I'm an engineer and a science-oriented guy, and a pretty successful manager. And I think that you can concoct a survey to come out with just about anything you want. But as you look at that survey, the results of the survey is published. 49% of our members didn't want an increase. Okay. So the increase that we discuss a lot, I got to tell you guys, I was on the losing side of this, because I wanted the following. I wanted to make good on the commitments we made to people when we signed up and took their money. When you guys came to as late as Dayton in May, the ARRL was selling 3-year memberships with the tacit, if not total promise that you'd get 3 years of the magazine. Well, the board decided in a separate action than the dues action to change that, and you'll see that in the minutes. And that was passed only by a majority of directors. But dues increases have to be passed by a 2/3 majority, and they did get 10 votes for this. It was presented as a way to make up the difference in the cost in the supply side. Mr. Minster believes that what he's doing is the right thing to do, and in a lot of cases he is. And so he's not ready to cut expenses at this point. He believes, and he's doing this. He's putting the ARRL back together again from years and years and years of just not paying attention to what's going on. You may have seen a lot of personnel turnover at the ARRL. That is intentional. Trying to basically bring in, newer people with newer ideas, and that's all good. If you don't know about the increase, this is what it is. If you wanted to be a life member, life memberships, there's a moratorium on life memberships until we come up with a plan that is not a loss for life memberships. The over 70 life memberships are still available. So if you're over 70 years old, you can still get a $750 life membership. That was not stopped. A 1-year membership of the ARRL is $59. For $59, you do not get a print magazine. If you want a print magazine, it's $25 to get either QST or 6 issues of On the Air. That's what it is. And any current subscriptions that run past to the end of the year, the magazine will stop unless you subscribe and pay extra for the magazine. I'm sorry to tell you guys that. I think that's probably unjust enrichment for the lawyers on here, but they're going to refund your money in the terms of a price of the unshipped magazines, which is, I think the talk now is 65 cents per magazine. So I'm a member of the board. What the boards decides. I'm here to explain it to you, and I am open to any and all questions.
Okay, well, does anybody have any questions? I'm sure one of you does out there.
Well, I think Mickey answered the one I had about the QST magazine. We have to start paying for it after January the 1st, regardless of when your subscription runs out. And that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When the minutes are published, call your friends in the divisions where those directors that did this nonsense and talk to them. So, every year, 5 directors are up for re-election.
Thanks for letting us know about it. You're the messenger, and we don't want to kill the messenger.
I know, guys, I did vote against it. I spoke. If you can talk to anyone else is there, I got quite a bit of compliments on my eloquence in presenting the other side of the story. But quite honestly, the votes were cast before the meeting was held. It was already decided pretty early on. And the people who voted against it were me and Dick Norton, and Lee Cooper was representing the West Gulf Division from Texas, and what's his name, Bob from Atlantic Division, the Atlantic Division director. I can't remember. He's new, so that's the guys that voted against it.
I was watching as this debate sort of unrolled, and I may be in a minority here, but I assumed that the decision or the conversation would not be occurring unless it was necessary. And as far as I'm concerned, I will probably continue paying the extra for the print magazine, because I do like to have the paper magazine to take to lunch and read and mark pages and tear things out and keep them. My QST magazines will never show up at a ham fest in a bundle because by the second month is about half of it's been ripped out and put in a scrapbook somewhere. But
That's good. That's good.
yeah, it's a good reference thing, and it's I just yeah, it wouldn't be done unless it was necessary, and I figure I'm going ahead and keep getting the print magazine anyway because it's hard to write on a tablet.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Bill. That, you know, I have relatively few complaints about this. I'm surprised, quite honestly, that I don't have threats to my life and stuff like that, like I did during the 2020 election. But that's
Well, do you want us to threaten you to make you feel better?
no. I'm a peaceful kind of guy.
Okay, just asking.
I'm sure there's people on here that I've known through the years, and they'll tell you that I'm just a, you know, a quiet kind of person. I'm a principled person, so I go up here and argue the stuff with people at ARRL. We did need it. We do need it now. Honestly, we have, we have money in the bank. All right, we have endowments and contributed money, a lot of which is restricted as to what we can do about it. We have $36-7 million in funds, and all but about 8 million of that is restricted as to what we can do with it. You know, like we got a $2 million gift from someone who only wants to see that $2 million go to launch satellites. And, you know, we've had several opportunities to help contribute to the right satellite, but you know, the foundation hasn't done that. That's kind of things that we do. We like to take money from, you know, people and give it out. A lot of people that give us our money, the biggest guy that has ever given us any the most money is Mr. Valentine of Valentine 1 radar detectors. He is an active ham, and he's been contributing bigly over the past few years. So you know, we're open to contributions. So we appreciate your support, Bill. We appreciate y'all's coughing this up for the magazine if you want to. Now, I typically read the magazine because I try to read it the minute it's available, and I get a note when it hits the hits the online edition, and I usually get that at the same day that I get it, my advanced copy. Being on the board, they send me an advanced copy, you know, overnight. So I see it hot off the presses. That way I can get in front of stuff that maybe is, you know, going to be upsetting to members, or it might, you know, at that point it's already mailed, so there's not much I can do. But I get to find out what's going to be in the issue, and I do read it. That's
My question as a life member, what's going to happen with the subscription for life members?
That's a good question. Thanks for asking that. It's something I didn't cover. There's going to be a window whereby, and I believe the window is from January of 2024 till December 2024, but please check me on that, where you can notify the ARRL, and they will make sure that you get the magazine after you request it forever. Okay. And your membership will continue just like it is now. If someone doesn't do that, then they the magazine gets dropped from that subscriber.
Now, if we don't do that, will we get the digital version?
Yes. Yes. You get the digital version until, you know, we get such notification as you know, your QRX.
Now, it's just, I mean, obviously, I like the print version, but if it came to it, I could live without the print version if I had the digital version. But I would prefer to keep getting the print version. So that's good to know. Thank you.
I had a question from Brian N4TRB.
Yeah, Mickey, I appreciate you being here. And
Fine.
my question is there any latest news or discussion on the situation with Logbook of the World in terms of performance and interface?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's something near and dear to my heart. I'm trying to not be foul when I talk about this. There's an IT director at ARRL who is doing a good job at figuring out what the problems are in the current ARRL Logbook of the World. And I gave him a list of things. I actually gave it to Mr. Mister. Things to check. I had all you technical guys. I know there's a lot of technical guys in this club. I used to be in this club years ago. But the problem was that they were trying to do, forgive me for being technical, they had a table dump, a database backup going across an NFS mount that was slow, and it was backing up more than a day's data. And this mount finally, filled up the disk, and it crapped out, and then everybody knew it. But I kept telling them this NFS mount could be a problem. Let me log on and do it. And they won't let me log on. So that's it. That problem got fixed, and bang, that was the big problem that they fixed a couple of months ago. A year after I wrote this up and sent it to them, they finally did they made the same discovery I did. So that is running a lot better. We expect it's going to run a lot better. Now, the new interface, what I have a fairly well fleshed out version of a new Logbook of the World. The first thing we have to do, though, is we have to standardize the database. The current database is on something called MixDB, which is a product from SAP in the 1990s. I'd like to get it on, like MariaDB or MySQL, or something that we can hire someone that's still alive that understands that database. So that's been there. I said, look, I'll give you a 8 terabyte drive, put the environment on it, and I'll load it up. It's finally VMware. It's finally on virtual machines. So it would be easy matter to stand it up and then try to get the database over. So that's something I've volunteered to do. And it's just stuck right now because no one's doing anything because of all this money situation. Now that we have the we have the dues in place, and we're going to have to see what the impact is on membership. The forecast in the model that we looked at was a 14% impact on overall membership, which is huge considering that we have about 30,000 life members. We know those people are not going away. So out of the 120,000 members, we're probably going to lose enough to make up 14% of the entire organization. We're going to lose.
Mickey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We had a question in the chat. Somebody was asking about what other savings options were on the table other than making QST optional.
Nothing. All right. There was what I would like to have had was a $59 raise across the board, including the magazine, which wouldn't have got us above water for 2 years. We stopped writing new memberships with the magazine, so that new people sign up. Magazine's extra, they understand that. But the people that were currently in the queue that had magazines and ordered, I wanted to honor those, and that was the big thing. They told me that was going to cost us $1.6 million. I saw some support in that. I thought it was real loosey-goosey. I didn't have a real good feel that number was right, but that's what they tell me the number is. for cutting the magazine at the end of the year and making people buy it. So other cost saving measures. I ask that we look at headcount, and this is where I go. I mean, I've run organizations. I've been part of a couple of big startups, as some of you guys know, but it always comes down to if you're not, meeting your financial goals, somebody's not pulling their weight somewhere. So you have to go find out, either replace those people or do them. And I can't do that. I'm not running the ARRL, but Mr. Mister believes in his staff. He's not making changes in staff. So we'll have to see how that goes down the road. This thing's a continuum, not a points in time. We have to treat it that way.
So Mickey, I assume that they'll make a change to the website so we can go there and add $25. And can you get multiple years?
Yeah, you can if there are some there's a percentage that's being applied to the $59 fee and to the $25 magazine based on multiple years. I don't know what that is offhand, but I'm not sure that the staff is ready to answer questions on that yet. We haven't even published the minutes of the meeting, so you're sort of getting a preview of this. We did publish a notice to tell everybody it was going because we stopped the selling of life memberships, and we had to tell somebody something.
Mickey, was there also an increase in the advertising rates for QST?
No, there weren't. Actually, most of our advertisers tell us that they advertise in QST to support the ARRL, but not because of the response to the ad. So we don't foresee that there's going to be any difference with the number of print publications. It seems to work. Seems to work for everybody. In case you haven't noticed, the amateur radio world is not expanding. The markets are not expanding. Probably, these advertisers are already looking at cutting their ad budgets. In fact, we have had a couple of them cuts ad budgets. All you have to do is go count pages and you'll see which ones order. But the big guys have, they want to maintain a presence, but they're not making, 6 and 8 page buys like they were. And ARRL remains steadfastly in pursuit of expansion by acquisition. We would buy another publishing company, for example, if we found the right one. And we have talked to several different publishing companies and no success thus far.
Certainly, there are more questions out there. You don't have to talk about, if you have a question about ARRL anything, not just
sure. DXC, should Scarborough Reef be deleted?
There you go.
I have one more question, if I may.
Yes, please.
I could probably find this data somewhere, but what is the trajectory of membership over the last decade or so? How are we trending?
It's not good. It's up until actually COVID saw an increase in membership. And so the COVID years, we had a trickle 1 or 2% for 3 years. And this year it's actually down from last year. So we're down about 1.5% from last year. We may see 2 or 3% before we even announce this. And now we're seeing probably in the next 12 months, they've modeled 12% or 14%, but I think it's probably going to be worse. There are a lot of people that just can't afford making bigger investments in ham radio. Is not an inexpensive hobby. see a lot of you guys are in front of your shacks and, you know, if you're like me, you have tens of thousands of dollars worth of money tied up in ham radio, but, you know, it's, a lot of us are aging out one way or another.
I saw a question on, might have been on Facebook. Somebody was concerned that if they get a lot of people who quit the ARRL in their club, they'll fall below the level to be a ARRL affiliated club. And they were wondering if that would knock them off.
No, unless you fill out another, when you become a, you know, an affiliated club, you have to fill out the roster with call signs and names of the people that are currently in the club, and they have to be 51% or next. But there's no audit, and then there's, as far as I know, there's no requirement to keep that to maintain the affiliation. We appreciate the affiliation, we do, and you guys been an affiliated club since, I don't know, probably 90 years, 80 years.
No, we predate the ARRL.
Okay, cool.
1921.
I don't know when, that's when we became affiliated, it's when you became affiliated?
Yeah, I
Did-
think it was
did you
September
get-
21.
Did you get a plaque?
About I think all we have right now is just a rather large 50-year certificate, but I don't think there's
Dude,
anything else in inventory.
21, that means I missed that. That was me. I'll look into that.
So we're
Okay.
what, 102 years now?
Yeah, so you get a 100-year plaque, and that means I come up to your club meeting, you know, buy you guys a big round of water. And we, you know, we give you a nice plaque.
And we had the original certificate. We turned it up in a box of stuff a few years back, maybe 10 years ago. And we took it on as a project one summer to scan everything on a CD. And the original document was, I believe it from 1921. It was actually signed, or at least it had the signature of Maxim on it. And at some point in the distant past, somebody had set a cup of coffee or tea, and it had a ring on it from a
That's
cup.
great.
But it's whoever's got the presidential CD, it's on the CD. We've scanned the certificate on there.
That's
Okay.
cool. I was at the national convention when it was in Atlanta. I was there with a bunch of Georgia Tech people. Bob Duckworth, he's not on here, is he? It was funny. He dared me to go take my extra, and I took my extra cold at that.
Did you pass that
Oh,
first time? You passed cold and taking it cold?
Yeah.
Great.
I'd been in advance for like 15 years, and I'm pretty active, so. Study electrical engineering at Georgia Tech, you better be able to pass an extra.
As far as the testing goes, has there been any move to change? I guess the last thing you're going to do now is eliminate the testing fee or cut down the testing fee. But, you know, with Laurel out there, I know doing it for free, has that made you think about your dues at all?
No, actually hey, Bob, hey, the actual, you know, P&L of the VEC, it's about a $400,000 expense every year. We have 4 employees there, and they're, you know, Maria Soma is the one of them. Maria Soma single-handedly generates more questions for the question pool than any place on the planet Earth. Most of the questions in current question pool came from the ARRL through Maria. You know, ARRL did a lot of those questions. My current wish and hope and push is to include some general computing questions in it. You know, I'd like to see some, you know, maybe what's the 7-layer stack and what is TCP/IP. Let's talk about TCP/IP addresses and a little bit of routing for the extra. I think that would be great. When I go to the Red Cross meetings, for example, the state Red Cross in Florida, they tell me that what they need in volunteers is somebody that understands wiring TCP/IP, how to make computers with radios. So I think that would be good for us to know, especially we all have, I mean, a lot of us have SDRs and these little, the hotspots and stuff. This is all requires a knowledge of basic TCP/IP to make those things work, and that would be a good thing to question people. But yeah, there's no thought of cutting it. We are buying a. We are in the process of buying a ham testing online business, and we are buying an instructional business that will be available to members for to take these tests. So these that'll be, that's still in works. So that's not been announced yet, but you guys will hear that. I think the testing business has been finalized and should be announced.
I saw I'm a VE, and I saw that you've got computerized testing now, I guess on tablets.
Yeah, ham test online. Yeah, that's what we're, what I believe has been completed. If not, I've just everybody forget that and erase the tape. So
Yeah, I was thinking about reaching out to them to see what they were going to do.
yeah, he's already announced that he's going to make a change. So, and his wife passed away.
Oh yeah, and I think the site's down at this point. He said he was going to take it down at the end of June.
Yep.
So it would be great if you guys pick it up, because it's probably the best one out there. Needs a bit of a modern coat of paint, but the content was excellent.
I think that it's actually that's pending. That's going to be pretty quick. Can't afford to not do things quickly when we're behind the 8 ball, or losing looks like about $1 million this year. There's about 800 last year, and the year before we did not have a loss, which was 2020, because we got forgiveness of one of those loans from the federal government for $1 million. PDP, was it PDP loans, something like that? PDP loans.
Yeah. What about the due? The FCC now is charging, for the licenses, and I believe ARRL had some program where they were going to subsidize some of that for the young
Yep.
first-time hams.
Yeah, you guys don't use ARRL VC, so if I could talk to you guys into using ARRL VC. If you do that, the charge for someone under 18 years old before their 18th birthday is $5 for the test. That's the ARRL fee. Send it all to us, and we will pay the $35 FCC fee if they submit it to us in a proof of payment to us. We'll pay it for them. We'll reimburse them.
That's pretty
So,
nice.
yeah, some of the scout organizations are doing that, and they're submitting 30 or 40 at a time. So we like that. That's good money to pay out. I'm happy. The way that I thought of this was that a friend is he's the radio merit badge guy for the Central Florida Council of the Boy Scouts, and he had a program where he was giving kids when they earned their licenses, he was giving them a Baofeng, and then all of a sudden, the $35 came up, and he said, I can't give him a Baofeng. I got to pay this $35. That's where it came from, and that's how I presented to the board, and we passed it pretty quickly after that. So we had it in place as soon as the fee came in place.
As long as testing at the ARRL VE. Keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's
That's fair.
I usually, I think I guess it was John that turned in your Hamfest application. I always, if they don't say ARRL VEC, since I'm the unpaid representative of the ARRL, I call up the Hamfest people and say, hey, look, why are you not giving ARRL tests? You know, because they cost $15. Oh, well, that's what the way it is.
There's a question in the chat.
Right.
Has there ever been any thought to moving headquarters away from Connecticut?
Yes, there has been discussion of that. I'd like to see it in, you know, somewhere like I can make it in one flight. Charlotte would be nice.
Would it be a cost cutting move, or would it be for more centralized?
We're sitting on about, I don't know, 15 to $20 million worth of real estate there at headquarters, some expensive real estate. You know, our recommendation, if you guys have ever been there, you know that the station W1EW is on the corner of the lot, and then the rest of headquarters is on about 5 acres back through there. So that would be a valuable piece of property for, you know, a manufacturing organization or something. So we could always sell that, raise some money and move somewhere, but CEO won't want to do it. Staff won't want to do it. It would be expensive to move critical staff. Let's just say we took 20 people and we paid their reload. So, you know, that's probably $500,000. So it would get pretty expensive pretty quickly. Having done that, it gets a lot of money real fast.
Yes, so pretty soon you're talking about real money, right?
Yeah, right. $500,000, but you know, got 100 employees, and you know, well, right now they have like 82, 83 employees. I try to keep count. You know, watch the money.
Yeah, I guess you have a problem. Yeah, employees would not want to move.
Yeah, and you just look at people like Bart Yankee, who is just incredible at what he does. He's probably he knows more about Logbook of the World usage and about TQSL and about all those things that the DXers all use to you know, get their orders. You know, people like me, he just knows it cold. And I don't know what we would do without him. He is the source. So I don't think he's going anywhere. But he's, you know, he's 60 years old. So how long is he going to work? Ed Hare is 77. Do you guys know about this proposal that's filed with the FCC to put 20 kilowatts of 50 kilohertz wide signal on Part 90 operations right adjacent to amateur radio bands?
I was reading about that. It's going to cause a lot of interference, but Wall Street has a lot of money. So what chance do we stand to stop them?
Well, we got $30 million. So, you know,
they got billions.
Yeah, they do. But I don't think it's worth billions to them. But we did file, we filed a very cogent and powerful argument against it. You know, they have money, but we have physics. This was just so poorly thought out. If you just do the math, they say, you know, they want it to be 50 kilohertz away. They want to be able to drop a something that's down 50 dB from 20 kilowatts. So I think that I think that's 6 or 7 watts. So they want to be able to, and this is, you know, a bunch of ragged square wave stuff. So, you know, the products it makes, and it's going to end up 100 kilohertz up the band. Ed Hare wrote a pretty good technical treatise on it, and it's filed with the ARRL response that we sent in today. That should put it, I think it'll put it to an end, but they're going to have to go back and redo their engineering, because otherwise they're going to trash 20 meters, for example, worldwide when it's open.
It's interesting that HF is being used now for, you know, commercial purposes. You know, so I understand it's the high frequency traders, and I know they've installed microwaves and relays between Chicago and New York or New Jersey. Because it's actually faster than sending it over fiber.
Yep.
But they're going to have their fun with the atmosphere and propagation problems also.
I believe this is you guys remember the broadband over power line stuff from 20 years ago when, you know,
Yeah.
everybody was up in a panic. Well, that, you know, the market never played out. Broadband over power line never became a viable product. It was too expensive to deliver, and it was competitive with, you know, Comcast and, you know, AT&T or Verizon, whoever you have. But I believe this will meet the same fate, because I don't think that these guys have thought this through yet. I think there's a technology coming that is going to obviate this for trading. I think that once quantum technologies and quantum networks are in place for these big high velocity traders, you know, that's instantaneous, no matter what the distance is. Done deal. You're faster than anybody. So that's, you know, that's not probably state of the art right now. I know that China has some 400 gigabit nodes that are 200 miles apart, which are pretty interesting. So 200 miles is not quite what they're looking for on this, but, you know, this is not, I think quantum networking will put this out of business, and they won't have a product anymore.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about the current status of the HOA legislation, where it stands, where do you think it's going?
I don't, if you talk to John Robert Stratton, my colleague from West Gulf Division, he was a trial lawyer, and he's you know, always positive. We believe we will at least get a vote on this year, at least in the House. We don't know about the Senate. You know, you're aware it's been introduced in both houses. We think we'll get one out. We could get it out of that House this year, and, you know, in the 2-year term, we may get it passed next year. We've hired 2 lobbying companies, one on each side of the aisle. Our Ms. Debbie Lesko, our sponsor in the House, is a Republican, and our sponsor in the Senate is a Democrat. We have bipartisan support in both houses. We believe, you know, our lobbyists tell us that we're, you know, counting votes, and when we get it when we get a support that will pass, we'll get a vote on it, but not until we know that we have the votes lined up. Nobody wants to vote for something that's not going to pass. Opportunistically, our lobbyists are always talking to people to try to get this legislation attached to something else that makes sense. Sometimes that happens at the close of the session or before a recess, where, you know, they just throw a bunch of stuff together to get it out. So we're hoping that we might get that kind of boost if we can. We're working all the angles. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? But the bill itself is basically the OTARD bill. You know, did everybody know what over-the-air reception devices is? Yeah. That would allow us that for ham radio. We each have an antenna and an HOA.
You're talking about the dishes for
Yep. The dishes for TV, dishes and antennas, and even transmit and receive WISP, you know, wireless internet service providers. Those are still out there. So you can put one of those up down, and the limitation to those, I think, is a 1 meter dish or something like that. So asking for some you know, there's I'm sorry, I just got a mail about the electronic vote tallings anyway, but I think that I'm sorry, I sort of lost my train of thought there. Doggone it. Roderick sends me text messages. I tend to look away. I'm sorry, guys. Where was I going with this? What was your question? I'm sorry.
With OTAR, yeah, OTAR and
Yeah, OTAR. It's a 1 meter dish, and what we have asked for is a vertical antenna, or a wire antenna, or a Yagi antenna. So you can read the legislation. That's what we're hoping to get for our HOA friends. I live in an HOA, and I've probably told you this before, but Fred Hovengarten is a friend of mine, has been for many years. And I said, okay, I want to buy this house. It's an HOA. What do I tell him? He said, make him an offer based on the HOA changing the rule. And I did that, and they accepted it. So I've got a tower in the backyard. And my neighbors didn't say anything. So they're good.
Just for you? I mean, you've got an exemption for your tower.
Actually, they changed the rules. They took it out of the
For everybody.
rules for everybody. There's only one more. There's only 300 houses in here, and there's one other ham I know of. So he'll probably put something out. It's a minimum of 5 acre lots in this in the subdivision. So we've all got 5 acres. So what the heck are they worried about?
You know, a lot of HOAs don't even know about that law that lets you have direct TV. Not many people have direct TV anymore. I used to have it. I couldn't mount it on my railing. So I went to Home Depot and got this big bucket and put 50 pounds of cement in it and put a bar down the middle with some cross ties. But I got off of the dish antenna, and recently the property management company sent out a notice saying, under no circumstances are you allowed to have any sort of dish on your back porch. And so I sent her I said, that's against the law to tell somebody they can't do it. And I sent them a link to the legislation, and I never heard back from them. So a lot of folks don't even know about that law.
That's right. You don't have all those people out there hawking satellite dishes like you did. I bet those guys that would hawk it were selling those dishes door to door at one time.
Well, that used to be the thing. I mean, now everybody's got fiber with streaming.
Yeah. I had a satellite dish, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And then finally we had a hurricane. I guess it was Hurricane Wilma that came through and blew down my satellite dish. And that was the end of that. Called up Comcast.
Well, for its time, it was great, but I did have a problem when it rained. I couldn't get the satellite, and then the cloud would pass and I could get the satellite.
Yeah, we had the same thing, but it was great most of the time.
Yeah, it was not compressed. You got a lot better high definition video.
Right. Hate to see those stripes. What do you guys want me to do? You want me to post stuff like this, or did I do the right thing by saying no? I wanted 49 or I wanted 59 and free magazine. I mean, so sort of wonder why am I arguing this stuff? I just say, oh yeah, you guys do whatever you want. No, I don't really. I got to go out and earn this high salary y'all pay me, but I appreciate y'all voting for me, send me here. But some things I just couldn't do anything about this. I felt really,
I have a question on the archiving of the magazines.
Yep.
Is it a people limitation or a storage limitations that you can't get the more recent issues into the archive?
No. So this is what I heard on that. And I don't know if this is the absolute truth because it's been a long time. They were selling the previous years on CD, and they sold a bunch of those. You get a whole year on a CD. Well, I get those CDs. I get them for free, and I don't think I've ever put one in a CD drive. I don't have this computer doesn't have a CD drive. So that was the reason for a while back, but you know what? That's a good idea. I don't know why they're not getting it back. Aren't they like 2 years back? You can get the ones back 2 years.
It's close to 2 years, I think.
Yeah, that's the reason. And I'll ping Mr. Minister about that and complain and see what he says. If you send me an email, I will respond to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Val, thanks.
Now, this isn't a criticism of, are you up for re-election?
No problem. I don't know that I'll run for re-election, quite honestly. I'm about to finish my first year of a 3-year term, so it's 2 more years down the road.
Great.
You know, if somebody wants to do it, come talk to me. I'm looking for succession. Really. So, and they should be younger and more handsome than me. So that's like most of you guys, right?
It's hard to find anybody younger than anybody here, but
the average age of an ARRL member is 74.
I'm young.
Yeah, me too. I'm below average, right?
Yeah, man.
yeah, we were talking about starting a youth club for hams under 50.
Yeah, that's probably right.
That's kind of sad that our hobby, the average age is 74.
It is sad. And when I say aging out, a lot of us are aging out. We're losing about 2,000 people that are members. I mean, they pass away every year.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought it was great that they try and get kids involved in the hobby, but I've never really understood why they don't go after college students. They have money.
We do have a very active collegiate radio group run by Bob Interbitson and Andy Maluzzi. He lives in Claremont, but he's a Claremont Authority, works for Disney, but he's actually the head of that as far as volunteer goes. And we are always looking for volunteers to help us in clubs, so, in colleges. If you guys know of a college that has a radio club that's not talking to ARRL, put me in touch. I'll make sure they get some support from us.
So Rob doesn't, Georgia Tech I know has a radio club. Are they involved with ARRL?
Absolutely. They're involved with the collegiate program quite a bit. I got a picture of myself I could probably share with you of me wearing a Georgia Tech Amateur Radio Club jersey that the club sent me. But it's Georgia Tech big. But y'all have have more than one school in Georgia, don't you?
Yeah, I'm surprised more electrical engineering students don't get involved.
I am too. I'm surprised. There are a few active hams in ARRL that we know about they're at the shack all the time. It's up on the 4th floor of the Van Leer WE building, and I've been there a few times. It's stop in, introduce yourself. Those guys, they've got a great station.
Yeah, and Ed, the testing that they do every month is ARRL VEC.
No.
Well, I remember one night they had a net, and I thought, oh great, I'll join their net every week. But they never had another net. It was a one-time thing.
Well, the W4AQL repeater is currently down. It's probably going to be fall term before it's back up, which is only a few weeks away. I get all the newsletters, but Scott Sherman is the guy there.
Yeah, the girl running the net was that one that won the award last year. They gave out at the was it Dayton or Huntsville?
So usually,
Audrey.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Audrey.
Audrey, yeah, I know her. That's great, and that's we have some of the smartest kids around that are in amateur radio, and some of them are growing up. There's a woman that lives in she's married to an Army officer at Fort Gordon. She lives in Grovetown, and she is doing all kinds of fun stuff with a private school over near Fort Gordon. and she's doing balloon launches and rocket launches and really, and she's about to do her second ARRL contact there. So
Yeah, we have a 12-year-old kid in our club.
good.
Yeah.
Well, but Martha, what's her name? Martha Muir is the ARRL regional or the section coordinator. Also, we're looking for a section leader there. David Benoist has been conscripted in this for 2 years, and he wants to get out. He has got any suggestions? You guys help me find somebody. No, get paid nothing. Get to go to a lot of Hamfest.
Do you have a deadline on when you have to find somebody?
Yeah, it's already passed. But there's so David's still doing it, but he is desperately looking for help. So, that's something somebody could do to volunteer and get to be an ARRL official and wear a red badge and all that cool stuff. I know that's real important to everybody, right? But that is something you could do to help out the ARRL.
You get to give extra points to clubs on field day who make contact with you.
That's right. Same thing on the volunteer thing. The volunteer contest. I give away 200 points. Anybody that contacts me gets 200 points. So this Zoom doesn't count. They're all 5'9".
What's happening with the volunteer observer program that replaced the observers? I don't hear much about that.
Good. The volunteer monitor program is run on the QT. There might be someone on this call that's a volunteer monitor. In fact, there are 250 of them in the country. So we don't ask them to identify themselves. We don't identify them, but we give them a training program that they have to pass that is basically around evidence. It tells them how the FCC wants evidence to collect for a prosecution. And that's the first line. When they get some evidence against someone, then the FCC takes over. But it's a pretty good program. It's not just DFing, it's how to identify, all those Quantar codes and all the stuff that you see out there.
Are they looking at VHF? Because we had a speaker from Georgia who was the observer coordinator, and he said that at least at that time they were only looking at HF.
Not true. Most of our interference is VHF and UHF repeaters. In Florida, there's something called SARNet that's 20 years old, but it links about 40 repeaters all through the state, and it's just an intercom. And everything's got a PL in the front of it, but people figure that out and go chunk it all the time. So it's become a bad system because of all these things, and they're always shutting nodes down and having to do stuff. So there are ways to find these people. When they do stuff like that, then we usually have volunteer monitor find them. We have in Florida, there have not been any notices of warning, but we did get a couple of cease and desist letters from the people at the FCC.
Do they still have the monitoring station here, the Powder Springs?
No, they don't have the one in Powder Springs. The way they do monitoring right now is 100% remote. They have these Suburbans, okay, without luggage racks on top of them. And they have an array of aperture antennas built into the molding of the Suburban, the chrome.
Stealth.
They have a set, the entire back of the Suburban is filled with radio equipment. And it's all controlled from the passenger seat of the car by console. I'm sure that if you had a group for them to come see, that they would schedule and come out and see you. Get your program director to call them. I just dogged them until they came out and saw our club in Broward. bugged the crap out of them. Kept sending them nice letters and, oh, I heard about this, I heard about that, you know, what can you do? Can you come out? Come in. And a year and a half later, they came out.
Who would be contacting Washington to try and arrange for that?
No, you got to find out who the field engineer is, who the engineer in charge of the local office. I'm sure there's one in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Like an FCC federal office, say in a federal building,
There are field offices in it.
something like that.
Yeah, let's find out who the field office is. I'm sure that some of the commercial radio people around in your club or around the city could tell you who they are, because they come out and do commercial inspections all the time. And it's the same group of guys. The cell phone people are using more than anybody.
I didn't know I had so many questions.
Tell me later, you want to get those people go home.
What happened with the ARS, the Atlanta Radio Club, and I think all of the local Atlanta clubs have, we fund scholarships through ARRL, and there was some big delay this time. Normally they announce it in June, and I sent them a note the other day saying, can you tell me who won our scholarship? It just didn't happen on time.
I've not seen it either. I've not seen your list, but don't hesitate to call the guy that runs the foundation. He's the president of the foundation. He's a volunteer like me. His name is David Norris, and he's the director of the Delta Division. He lives in Arkansas, and he's a good guy. And just call him and say, hey, look, what's the score on this? And he'll tell you. There's also a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Reserves. So if you, we're a Marine, tell him that. He'll get right on it. No, you'll know at the top of his head, just bang.
The phone numbers are on the website.
Yeah, page 15 of each QST. Pick up any QST, look at page 15. Delta Division. There he is. He's a good guy. You tell him I told you to call him.
Yeah, we're okay this year.
Good.
Yeah, we got left out about 3 years ago. They said, oh, we just forgot to give your scholarship out.
Oh, yes.
That took some talking to, but
we had one person who volunteered for the board, the foundation board, and they never did any work. They never did anything. So they're not on the board anymore. Oh, well.
I know you do have hard workers on there.
You do. You really do. Most of them are hard workers, but one just never did anything, and they now she's not on the board. Now they're not on the board anymore.
Hey, a question about what you spoke about earlier with the restricted donations.
Yes.
This is a little bit out there in terms of ideas, but has anybody considered going back to the donors if they're, still present and available, and saying, hey, would you mind allowing us to unrestrict this money and put it into the general fund? Or has that not been considered?
We try to meet the wishes of our donors and their families, and no, it's not been considered. Some of the donors, though, are long gone. They might have given it as part of their estate or something, but we do have some legal obligation to do that. I'm sure there's ways to, if they said, well, we want to give you $1 million to make spark gap transmitters. You see, that wouldn't work. So there's common sense to be used with that too. So we're going to look at that over the next year.
Thank you.
We may need that to fight, encroachment on our frequencies.
Absolutely.
That's what the big money's for, guys. If we have to wage a legal war with someone encroaching our frequencies, it's going to be expensive. And I would vote to spend money on fighting, things like this HF nonsense. the trading platform thing.
Anything that comes out of the Spectrum Defense Fund?
Yeah, we have several $1 million in the Spectrum Defense Fund as part of that restricted money. You say when you contribute to the Spectrum Defense Fund or you contribute to Log with the World, it can only be spent on that. So that's what I mean by restricted money.
Is Diamond Terrace still going?
Who?
Diamond Terrace?
Yeah, Diamond Terrace is still going. You can still purchase bricks. You can still purchase a bench. I think a bench is $3,000. So it's still doing, it's growing all the time.
Revenue source.
Yeah, I know it is. And if we moved headquarters, we have to move all those bricks, right?
Yeah, that's where the big cost comes in.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else, guys?
Anybody? It doesn't sound like it. Sounds like we're sated. We've made up our minds, and
I'm not running for re-election or anything, but if you guys need something, call me. All right. One thing I will throw out there about the Ham Fest. I found out too late that you guys weren't going to have a Ham Fest. We do have money allocated to each section. That is $1 per section for each member. And in Georgia, there's about almost 4,000 members. So that's $4,000 to help Ham Fests. And if that much will make a difference in having the Ham Fest or not having the Ham Fest, you guys need to get in touch with me as soon as possible. And we'll get you on the list for one of those, because we want you to have Ham Fest.
Quick, John, call him. Call him on the air.
Yeah, well, that's I did tell John about this after I heard from him about the Ham Fest, but we want you, if that much would make a difference, a few $1,000s would make a difference, please let me know. I'd like to do that.
You'll be hearing from me. We're going through the budget process right now, so.
The that will ARRL through clubs, right? If they have that, if they're taking money for that.
I'm sorry, say again.
You can join ARRL through your local club.
Yes, you can. You get paid $5 per member.
Because we don't do that currently, but we might be able.
You can collect what you do is you collect all the money. You fill out the form with a tally sheet that shows all the members you did for a month, okay? And then or whatever period you wanted to, and you send that in, all of them, and then we'll send you a check back with a refund for the money. Okay, that's the way it works. I've got one club that's made $300 like that. It's not huge money, but a lot of people renew every year.
Yeah, that's handy.
There's a few phone bills.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you guys have internet at your repeater site? Do you have to pay for that for your repeater sites?
Yeah.
Okay. Stacks up. I got one I'm paying for now, Broward Amateur Radio Club. I got to go get some money from them.
Yeah, we're not paying for one. We're getting what we're paying for.
Okay, well, that works. Well, the only thing you have problems with is positive control, right? You guys know what the rules are. And when the internet is down, it's like, how do you do that? Can't punch it down.
Well, our guy who was going to go out and fix the repeater tonight, I got a note from him that they let him in the building. So
it's always good.
That's good news.
Hey, Mickey, what's your preferred method of being contacted by an ARRL member? Do you prefer email or telephone or snail mail or?
No, I prefer an email to N4MB@ARRL.org. The .org is it's a AOL email server. It's a Microsoft email server actually, but it's Office 365 in case you're interested. But that's the one that works.
Thanks.
That's your problem, Microsoft.
Believe me, man. You notice when I talked about databases earlier, I did not say SQL
Not
Server.
say SQL Server, that's right.
Yeah. I need something that everybody can work on. I don't know. I ran the city of Delray Beach was a Microsoft shop. We had 200 SQL servers, so it works for certain purposes.
I had my fill of them. I don't want to see that again.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you all having a good summer in Atlanta. I didn't quite get up that far this year in field day. I stayed down on the Gulf Coast.
Is it cool down there because of the ocean?
It's hot.
Because of the Gulf?
Oh no, I'm on the east side. So
okay. Ocean.
Just south of Stewart, just north of West Palm Beach. So
The ocean's 100 degrees down there. They're breaking records.
Too hot to go swimming in my pool. It's like, it's in the 80s in the pool.
Yeah, because we've been in the high 90s, I guess, last week.
Last field day, I went to see you guys on field day and some other clubs. I went up to Cloudland Canyon State Park, and it was 100 degrees over there on field day. So crazy.
We had a hot one in Georgia Tech, right, Bill? we had a very hot one.
Yeah, I had the microphone muted. Yeah, it turned out the grassy field that we were in used to be a parking lot. And what they did, they laid in about 4 inches of sod on top of it. And at one point I had an infrared thermometer and it was 125 on the ground. Yeah, that was miserable.
That was this year?
No, that was 2009, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. So we couldn't get anything in the ground. He's tried sticking in even a fence post with a 3-inch spike could just jam up, and then come to find out it was a parking lot. They just threw dirt on it. So we were getting the our reflection out of the ground. I got so hot I got sick, physically sick. Oh. Thanks for bringing that up, Rob. I appreciate it. I was feeling really good until you brought that up.
Didn't have to mention the sick part,
Yeah, it all goes together.
Thanks,
hey, Mickey.
Yeah.
This is Steve Garrison with the Alford Club. You said you hadn't been to Georgia yet. You are coming in November, right?
I am coming normal. I think I got an email from you just about an hour ago or so.
Well, that might have been Dallas sending that. So you're not going to be able to make it.
No, I'll be there.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you.
I got it. I have an uncle. My mother's brother lives in Loganville, so I always come.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, thank you. We'll see you in November. We got you all set up with the same 2 booths you had last year and the year before, I think. So we're ready to go. Remind everybody that our online ticket booth is open. So buy your tickets online and save $2.
If you'll send me a plain text announcement, I'll send it out to 10,000 people.
Okay. Well, hey, Dallas, I know you're on here. Can you do that?
Consider it done.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll back out. I didn't want to turn my video on because I look bad enough as it is, but I'm in the hospital, so I really look bad.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, Steve.
I'm hoping to get to go home tomorrow, but I'm not. I just have my fingers crossed. That's it.
Good. I hope you do too.
I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go back to just listening.
All right, I'll see you in November. Thank you.
Hey, then Dallas, if you want to mention the Hamfest, just the cost of the tickets and when it is, just for people.
All right. I wish Steve would have done that because I'm not the official spokesperson. I'm the official getting people for the forums and workshops. So if y'all know of any excellent meeting presentations or something that y'all built, and the contact person that gave that presentation or built that, whatever it was, let me know and I'll track them down and see if I can't get them to do a forum or a presentation at Hamfest. But the dates are November 4th and 5th. we're gonna start setting up stuff on Thursday and Friday, so we can use volunteers if y'all wanna, volunteer to come out and help set up tables and chairs and whatnot. What else can I say about this thing? Dang, I hate being put on the spot. I need to have an elevator speech.
Well, I didn't want to bother Steve, let him get back to his rest. I mean, then.
I'll jump back in there. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to put, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Dallas. I'm sorry.
Dang, I need an elevator speech.
But yeah, he's right. November 4th and 5th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday. Tickets at the gate are $10. If you get them online through the ticket booth at the website, they're $8. You can also purchase a tailgate space through that. Those are the only two items that we actually have in the ticket booth, so to speak. But let's see, what else can I say about it? You know, we're still working on the price list. We did find out that ICOM won't be there this year with the loss of, oh shoot, now the name just escaped me. I can see him in my mind, but you know who I'm talking about. So,
Will Jourdain.
yeah, there
Will
you go.
Jourdain.
Yeah, and out in the flea market, there's one of our major vendors that was in the front 13 tables won't be there either. So he's only doing Huntsville and Huntsville and Dayton now. So, but we are starting to get rolling in. In fact, I had a lady call today, and she's new to the area. She was down in Orlando. She's down here. It doesn't have anything to do with radio, so she's going to be out in the flea market. Her check hadn't cleared yet, and I said, well, I'm in the hospital. It's probably sitting on my desk at home because my wife's been checking the mailbox. So I said, I'll get to it as soon as I get out of jail here. And one of our groups sent me a get out of jail free card photo of from Monopoly. So I'm gonna try that on tomorrow and see if it works.
There you go.
Any questions about the Hamfest? All right, well, I'll back out again. Sorry for putting you on the spot, Dallas.
No, but I do have one question for the group. I know that y'all have noticed that I don't want to use the word spam, but I send out these mass email notices to a lot of the groups IO. I kind of halfway want to explain my hashtag I put it with that, which is the hashtag of mass email event. When you get one of my mass emails, if you get it on like 14 groups IO, you can, at the bottom of some of those, you can hit the mute that hashtag and you won't get it on those groups. So just keep it on the Atlanta Radio Club one, because that's the email you want to get all the time, and you'll only get one. If you also listen to North Fulton and stuff that happens with GARS, but you don't care to get the same emails, mass email, you can click that to shut that up. That's why I put that hashtag in there.
Great idea. Well, you saw what I did yesterday. I spammed all the clubs with an announcement of our May meeting coming up.
And I'm glad you did, because I didn't know y'all were going to have Mickey on here, and it's, I don't always make y'all's. I'm busy. Not that busy, but it's nice to have people that will go out and mass email. I try not to do it all the time, but you know, we've got the Hamfest in November, and then right around in January, I'm gonna just change the hat around. I'm gonna do forums and workshops for Tech Fest, so you can continue to get mass emails from me.
Is that going to be at Fairgrounds?
At the fairgrounds, exact same place, except we're a little bit cheaper. Everything is free. I do not understand how we do that. I listen and I don't understand.
Yeah, we'll publicize all that, you know, when the time.
Yes.
When the time comes. Those are great events.
Yes.
I always like Tech Fest. I was in the hospital one time and I was trying to go to Tech Fest and I needed a wheelchair delivery and they just took so long. I had to figured I wouldn't get there in time to really see anything. But those are always good.
Yeah. Yeah. The only sad thing about Tech Fest is, in my opinion, it's too short. But it is what it is.
Well, if no one's saying anything, I want to thank Mickey for agreeing to talk to and for doing it so quickly. Because I sent you the note and said, right, we do it every month. And by the way, we're going to do it on Thursday. And I was totally expecting you to go, well, how about November? Or how about October? And so just being able to do it so quickly, I appreciate it.
Well, it's easy to do. Just come on and tell you what I know. That's that way you guys know I'm not making all this stuff up. It's pretty much easy to do. Anytime, guys. Anytime anybody has anything, just call me. And anything that you're willing to do will help you. All right.
I'll send you the link to the video when we get that up. That's probably going to be about 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
It'll be on YouTube.
Great. Everybody will see that. See what I said. That's good. That helps me more than anything.
Back to net control. Go, John.
All right, guys. Thanks, Mickey, for doing this tonight, of course. And Rob, thanks again for another great program. Anybody have any questions about anything from the club? If not, I'd just like to remind you about our upcoming events. Next Saturday morning for breakfast, Toco Hills Goldberg, and then Sunday afternoon for our playing radio in the park. And then, of course, we've got testing on that Sunday also at PDK. And then, of course, if you get an opportunity, do make your way over to Huntsville for the Handfest there on the. So thanks for being here tonight, and congratulations to the new board. Looks like my internet connection is becoming unstable, so and do join next month, same time, same bat channel. Any comments, anybody? I heard something.
I got a quick one.
All right, guys, y'all have a good evening.
Or not.
Go ahead. Question, comment?
Congratulations to the new officers.
I just want to say that we have lunch tomorrow at 2. I mean, we have lunch tomorrow at Miller Mushroom at 12:30 in Brookhaven. And the testing, the ham testing that we do at PDK, it's currently free. I'll just I'll say currently there. So you just come on by, or 12 noon on Sunday. That's it for me. Congratulations, Bill. Welcome, Bill. He's back.
And of course, Mickey, you're always welcome for lunch on Fridays.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
I'm up there right now then. Thanks.
Everybody have a good evening.
Bye.